maybe I'll go on a walk here or there. I started back to yoga. We're little by little, those type of pieces are being picked up, and the fear is being released, because what is fear? Like, if you live your life in fear, where are you going to go?
Hello and welcome to The Secret of My Success, the podcast where we explore what it means to live a fulfilling life. I am your host, Erin Curran. On today's episode, I am speaking with Leslie Krebs. Leslie says she has done just about a little bit of everything throughout her working years. Currently, she is a licensed massage therapist and an independent contractor with Kangen Water. According to Leslie, being that water is life, she has learned that the type of water that we drink is just as important as the foods that we feed our bodies. We hope you enjoy the episode. You can be part of the blooper reel. Hello. Today I am talking with Leslie Krebs. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
So normally I ask my guests if they'd like to get us started with some kind of an experience that they've had in their life that maybe altered their context or set them on a different path. Is there a place you'd like to start today?
Sure. Mine actually was pretty recent. I was traveling overseas and had a little accident where basically my whole left side got messed up, from my wonderful scarring that you can see here to my hand and all the way pretty much down my leg with road rash and everything. But it was probably one of the most traumatic events I've ever experienced. And it really put me on this path of really like, what next? Since I do work with my hands, there was a lot of damage to the hands. So it's really what next, how to move on, what to do, and stuff like that.
That sounds really a little bit scary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you are a massage therapist?
I am by trade.
Okay. And that's primarily how you earn your living?
It was.
So, well, yeah, messing up your hands would be kind of a bad thing, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about the accident and, kind of get us in your world of what all of that
is for
you.
Like I said, I was traveling my last day overseas. We decided to do a sporadic, let's go do this thing, and on a four-wheeler, which if you are familiar with them, they're probably one of the most probably one of not the most safest things to ride. But anyways, ended up taking a tumble, had, like I said, the whole left side kind of stitches, hands, road rash throughout my body on both sides. And just really having me second guess everything. I guess my biggest takeaway from it is I had a traumatic event, and it was just that, a traumatic event. Something happened to me. Okay, I get to move on.
Okay.
Like, there is life after it. Like, I don't have to stick there. There's more to life than the event.
Okay. So, yeah, like that is a really major event. It had to be really scary because, from what you were sharing with me, one minute you're on the four-wheeler and the next minute you're waking up and you're bloody and you're hurt and people are around you wondering if you're okay.
Yeah. It was, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I think, okay, yes, there was all of that, but I had also, like, I wasn't able to leave. I had to stay in the country for an extra week. So that was fun and exciting as well. I think that really, as much as like it was just me by myself at this time, but it really gave me a little bit of solace, if you will. Like, thank God for all my friends, because literally, daytime here, I got to like talk to all my friends that are here and really like talk through it and have them really help me like see that, not really see, but just have me like not freak out. And like, I'm okay and I'm still here and I'm still alive.
Did anybody stay in Italy with you?
No, from the trip, there were several of us. My friends got married, so from all of the trip, everybody left. Pretty much everybody left. There were a couple people still in Italy, but not where I was, which was fine. Like I knew that, like if I really needed something, I can call any of them, and they'd be, they'd take a train and meet me where I was.
Right.
So it was fun. It actually really was totally fine. It was nice to have that. I think it was really nice to have that, like, self time to be with myself with everything that was going on, and really just be, really.
Isn't it amazing? It always unfolds in a perfect way. And usually we don't see it until after it's already over, right?
Yeah.
Because I imagine, were you in a hospital? Were you at a friend's house?
No, I was in the hospital when everything happened. I did not stay in the hospital. They wanted me to stay the night. I just, we were all leaving where we were the next day, to take, go home or go wherever we were going. So I didn't feel comfortable staying. Well, A, I'm in another country. B, I don't have any family, da 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 da, all the things. So I just didn't feel comfortable staying. And I knew I was okay. I knew I can see. I knew if I was concussed, it was super mild. So I just chose to go back. And for the next week, I pretty much was in a hotel.
Mm.
So my days really looked like I'd wake up, I'd go down to breakfast, I'd come back up, I'd take a nap, I'd go walk around, and I say walk around, maybe I'd walk a few blocks because I really, like, it was such head trauma that it was, you can't really do too much with head traumas because it's a lot. So it'd shake everything up. But like, I made it back fine and
Mm.
good, and even the first, I'd say, like, the first week or two here, like, back, it's really like I was stuck in this trauma mode, and, like, everything around this trauma and everything revolved around what had happened to me, and then somewhere along the lines it was really like, okay, this happened. It was just something that happened. You don't need to fixate on it. And it's really that we can call it aha moment if you want, has really, like, propelled me to, you know, maybe it happened because I'm not supposed to be massaging anymore. Maybe it happened because I'm supposed to be moving forward in another area. Maybe it happened because who knows? But, like, it happened, and okay. So it's like, now what? Next what?
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Uh, do you mind if I dig in a little bit?
No, go ahead.
Okay, good. And please feel comfortable if at any point I'm asking you questions and you don't want to share, like the audience is going to understand because some things are personal and this is still a very fresh experience.
Mhm.
But I also think that really, it's so fresh that you have the unique opportunity of like you're close enough to really remember what happened. A couple of years from now when you're like, oh yeah, I fell off of this four-wheeler, blah blah blah, some of the details are going to get a little bit fuzzy, a little shady, a little skewed. And right now it's kind of like, wow, it's got to still be pretty vivid. So you're in a hotel room. You're, I imagine, in some kind of pain, a little bit sore from all the stuff. Feeling a certain kind of way because you were supposed to come back. We were actually talking about having our podcast conversation the week you got back, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm not coming back like I thought." And I
That's
was like,
right.
"Okay."
That's
So
right.
cool, stop, change, start, no problem. And
Mhm.
it's an even better story now.
Mhm.
As I love how, like, you're saying in one breath that you have no one, but on the other hand, that your friends are amazing and they supported you unconditionally.
Mhm.
Um, how does that experience feel for you? Because it sounds a little You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little like weird. It's kind of contradictory.
Well, I mean, in the I have no one really, like I have nobody there with me.
Mm.
Nobody's physically there to like. I couldn't wash my hair by myself, so like. Uh, I think I washed my hair. I somebody washed my hair. The last day they were in it was in Italy. So the last day they were there, somebody washed my hair, and then I didn't wash it again for a whole week until I got home. So, whatever, it was good. I was able to shower, or at least partially shower. Thank God for handhelds and stuff like that. But I think coming back to that question, I think um, the not having somebody physically, but at the same time, I had all the support from those friends via calls and texts and like there definitely were hard times because it was 6 hour 8 hour. I don't know if it was a 6 hour time difference or an 8 hour time difference, so that like it's too early to call somebody or too late to call somebody, or so like there definitely were those difficult times. And then there was always that surprise call when somebody was up at like 6 a.m. and here, and they'd give me a call, which was like, oh, that's nice. So that happened like once or twice, so it was a
Okay.
nice surprise. But I think there's definitely the not having physically, but having the emotional, well, would you call it emotional support? Yeah, I guess it'd be emotional support. Even though they're not physically, they're still there with you, and you can still feel like you can feel it. So,
Yeah. Like one of the things that I know, you and I have known each other for a few years,
mhm,
through personal development circles and some of the other, we
things.
know some of the same people.
Mhm.
And the what I know of you is you're a very supportive, loving, generous kind of a person. Like you
Thank
want
you.
to make sure that everyone is okay.
Thank you.
And so I find it amazing because I don't know you. I know you, but I don't know you well.
Right.
And I don't know that you've been the kind of person who's really allowed people to support you as much
Right.
as you support people.
Hmm.
So, do you think maybe this was the universe going, bitch,
Definitely.
slow down?
Yeah. Well, 100%. It's in all areas. It's like slow down. It's like a reassessment of my life. It's a like you're living. Like do something with yourself. It's like finding a new passion or a new hobby or a new whatever. And like one of the biggest things I've also had to deal with is my eyes are watering, and I apologize.
Do you want a tissue?
No, they're just gonna continue to water,
Well, it is
so
okay. I mean,
it's just my eyes. Sure.
nice catch.
One of the biggest things I've had to deal with is all the fear that surrounds it. Like I've had, yeah, I can say it was just an event that happened and I'm off of that, but like there's still this fear of like everything. It took me a long time. Just, I mean, granted, what happened on June 14th, so it's not that long ago.
2 months.
Yeah, not that
Like,
long ago at all.
yeah.
Yeah, so like it took me, I'm gonna say, a long time because before I went, I was working out 3, 4, 5 times a week, sometimes 2 days, 2 times a day. Um, but it took me until last week, 2 weeks ago, till I really was like, okay, okay, we can start slowly. We can start slowly. So I've started like, maybe I'll go on a walk here or there. I started back to yoga. So like we're little by little, those type of pieces are being picked up, and the fear is being released because what is fear? Like if you live your life in fear, where are you gonna go?
Yeah.
You're gonna be in the same place today as you are, you know, 3 years from now, you'll still be in the same place, probably with more fear because you've waited so long to do something that it's become this like, yeah.
That's true. But, at the same time, one of the things that I hear is You're going along through life. You had like the most amazing vacation. You went to your friend's wedding. You guys had a blast. Everything was awesome. You decide to go do this one last fun thing. Your plane was taking off with the next day, or that
2 days later.
your plane was taking off 2 days later.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everything, all bets are off.
Mhm.
It's all gone.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, like, then you start to question everything.
Yeah.
Me personally, I looking around corners and like trying to figure out what's coming next. So I can understand when you say, as you're going through, it's only been 2 months and now you're just starting to be able to do some of the normal things. You're still in a very real, very raw place with this,
Yeah.
is what I hear.
100%. I
Yeah.
still, even when I came back, like I'm over it. But like this doctor and that doctor, just for precautions and safety, like a hand doctor and a neurologist, an ophthalmologist, a this, a that, a plastic surgeon. So, so it's just, you know, it's time will tell, and I know I am confident in the fact for me that whatever damage there is, like I know there's things that can be switched on and switched off to support with whatever needs to be done,
Mm.
and that comes,
Mm.
again, one step at a time, and this happened, so we move on. So it just happened. So what?
That's a very Pollyanna kind of view of the universe. It's also a very effective view because, like, back in gratitude
Hmm.
in ML,
Uh-huh.
Masterful Living,
Hmm.
I think I
Hmm.
always get that
Hmm.
title wrong. There was that one game
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
with the tape on the floor, and it was the beep
Oh yeah.
where
Hmm.
it was like you had to, like, your teammates are guiding you,
Hmm.
and I don't even remember what the rules were. It would nobody got past like the first lane because the beep just kept. You had to go back to the beginning, and the whole point of it was it's just a beep. And in theory, that sounds really great. Then when you total your car, or you roll over an ATV, or your partner leaves, takes all the money, you're broke, you're desolate, whatever, it really is all okay.
Hmm.
So what? Who cares? Now what?
Hmm.
It's so challenging to really get that in real life because we become so attached to who we think we are as we have been for as long as we can remember, right?
Hmm.
So, Leslie, with all of the stuff that we were talking about, it's great to say it's just a thing. And at the same time, are there tools or practices, or like how do you remind yourself that
Uh-huh.
it's just a thing?
How do I not keep spiraling down? It's just sometimes I'll just like I have this one of the places I had stitches was inside my hand on the palm, which is always fun. And I have a scar that sometimes I'll just rub it because it's a little raised. There's a little scar tissue, so I'll like massage it out, and even just doing that, it just reminds me like, okay, it happened. It was just something that happened. Um, but I think some practices that I do, I mean, definitely, I've gotten back into journaling. That helps. I've gotten back into, really my practices. I've forgot about. I'm getting back into them, like getting to the ocean. Really supportive. Thank God, living in South Florida, it's fairly easy access. Um, Journal gratitude. Waking up and just starting the day in gratitude and in gratitude, prayer, thankfulness, however you want to call it, and even ending the day with that as well. So, I mean, those are just a few of the things that I aim to do regularly. And I think one of the big teachers has been patience, patience, and grace. Um, I can be very like concrete and very like um, what's a word for it? Like very direct, and like learning to like soften and be a little bit more like, okay, okay, just taking it a little slower, I guess we can call that.
Hmm.
So,
Are there any situations that, because I mean, it's like, I think I kind of understand what, like, I can be very direct for sure. If I want something to be done in a particular way, I can get a little
mhm.
edgy.
Snappy.
Eh, my
Yep.
mother once said I ripped people's faces off. Because it's like I know what I know, and I think I know what it is about this situation, and this is where I think we really need to be going.
Mhm.
And of course, when the universe has a different plan, in my experience, railing against it rarely helps.
Mm-mm.
So
No.
is that kind of what you mean when you say you can tend to be concrete, and so you're learning to really just
Yeah, yeah. And another thing is, I mean, talking about this here, but like, I find that, like, when it first happened, like, I would just spew. Anybody asked me about it, and it would just be like, "Meh, meh, meh, meh." So, like, even when people ask me about it now, I try and, like, say as little as possible, like, I am good, or, like, make something up that happened just so I don't have to talk about it, just because, yeah, it happened. Okay, so what? I have this great scarring throughout my body to remind me, and, like, let's play with it a little. Like, okay.
there's like actually a really amazing and powerful truth. I was having a conversation with a digital nomad life coach fairly recently, and one of the things that we were talking about is like going to therapy can be a really good thing for certain experiences,
Right.
because it's powerful to be heard about things, especially when you're talking about old memories with family, or, people who are denying that something went a particular way.
Mhm.
Sometimes validation can be good. But one of the things that I think gets overlooked pretty often is when we retell a story, we're regenerating the energy.
Mhm.
And that has the opposite effect of what we want. We've always been told, if we talk our way through it, if we, get it out. But I love, do you listen to Abraham Hicks at all?
Not really much anymore. I used to.
Okay. One of the examples that Abraham Hicks gives is, it's as if when you open your mouth, there's this inky red mist that comes out. And you keep talking to try and clear the room of the mist, but the more you talk, the thicker it gets.
Mhm.
And so, like, every now and then I'll think about that from that kind of an angle, where am I serving my healing, or am I perpetuating the issue by
Mhm.
continuing to speak about this?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, and like I said, I even make up, like, somebody asked me what happened the other day. They didn't know me or what happened, but they knew something happened. I said, "Oh, I was mauled by a bear." So, like, it's really like, I'm at the point where A, it's laughable. B, like, I don't know. It's just I don't even know what the B is, but A, it's almost laughable. Like, okay, okay. And now my biggest thing is, like, leave the scar or get rid of the scar. And if that could be my biggest thing, like, okay. Like, and, coming back to, like, the life changing everything, like,
Mhm.
will I still massage? Who knows? Like, it really has me. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Yes, I'm excited to get back to it because it's been 2 months and I have not been working because I'm waiting for to make sure the last of everything is good, because being I use my hands, and I don't want to damage them more
Right.
by working with them. But, like, it's really taking me time, and like you said, I do so much for others that, like, it's really allowing me to be with me and learn me, or, like, relearn me, and, like, what are my passions, what am I feeling, what do I want to do, what direction do I want to see my life in the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing yourself so bravely.
Thank you.
And as I'm listening to you, I'm like, Aaron, you're such an asshole. Like, you're like, oh, come on to the podcast. We'll talk about the one thing you've been avoiding. Um, at the same time, you know, I really appreciate that you're taking a look at it so honestly.
Thank you.
Now, if you don't mind, maybe we could back up a little bit
Yeah.
because Leslie has been around on the planet for a little while.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like there's a reason why most people wouldn't be able to get to this place in 7 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So how about Leslie from before? Like what do you think has contributed to helping you be here?
Uh, well, I know, like, with we'll take it to the accident one more second. Is like, I know I saw, like, somebody asked me, like, was anybody there with you or any of that stuff, and like, what I know is I saw myself wrapped in a white cloak. What that means, I have no idea, but I know whatever happened, if the falling, however the accident happened, because I don't remember. I know I saw myself in a white cloak, so I know there's something that I haven't completed,
Ah,
and I know there's a reason that I need to be here. So that, I think, also has helped me, supported me moving forward. But the Leslie before, what helped me get there? Like, I have run the gamut, like, you talk career wise, if you will. Like, I run the gamut from, I've literally done everything from selling shoes to management to teaching to bartending to, I mean, you name it, I've done it pretty much.
mhm.
So, I was in broadcasting for a little bit, even, like, um, but I, I don't know how to answer that. I think it's just everything that has accumulated has somehow supported me in, like, the trainings that we've done, the listening to those people that say, like, the positive self-talk, or like, focus on what is good in your life and not necessarily the places where you're not 100% sure about. If you're focusing on the good and only, like, okay, this area of my life is good, let's go to that area, and then we'll figure this area out as this area is getting better. Like, don't focus on that part. I don't know, maybe it's something like that. I don't know that I have an answer. I think
Okay.
I'm just talking in circles there.
No, I mean what you said made perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Did I answer? I don't even know.
In a way, yeah, because I think one of the things that I hear is that you've been searching. Because the
Mm.
last few times we've seen each other, you've shared that you were really reevaluating your life and kind of where you were. You moved out of state for a little while and then you came back. I don't know. Do you want to talk maybe a little bit about the crossing and some of the stuff that
Oh,
you
yeah.
did with that? Because I think
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
pretty pivotal. You
yeah.
started that a year ago, right?
Yeah. So the crossing is it's called the Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis, and it is a crossing from, you start in Bimini, Bahamas, and you paddleboard to Lake Worth Beach in Lake Worth, Florida. And my friends, it's their foundation, or one of my friends' foundations, and a whole bunch of friends were doing it, and I'm like, I was terrified of it. Like, paddleboarding in the middle, and you start at midnight and you go until you go. It usually takes anywhere from 10 to 15 hours. Some people do it solo, some people do it on teams. So I did it on a team of, there were like five of us or six of us. It was a lot of us. And this was in 2023. And then that's another thing. Like, one of the big things was I was also doing it in 2024. And that happened to be, I was coming home from my trip, and I had 3 days before, 4 days before I was leaving for the Bahamas. So, like, one of my big things was really, like, accepting that I wasn't doing it and being okay with not doing it, which obviously I'm still a little not okay, but there is that part to it. And will it make me do it for next year? I don't know, maybe. I have not gotten on a paddleboard since. Again, I get scared because of the hand, and it's I think I'm ready to. It's just the whole like, it's not like paddleboarding. You got to take the paddleboard. You carry the paddleboard. Of course, I can carry it with my right hand. My right hand is a lot better. My right hand, there is really nothing wrong with. But like, it's holding the paddle. It's the what is going to affect me. It's the, um, but it's that has been a really awesome thing that I've added to my life with the paddleboarding and the paddle community. And it's just like everybody's so open, so willing, so caring, so giving. And so it's and of course we're supporting an amazing cause, which is cystic fibrosis, which for those of you that don't know what cystic fibrosis is, it's a lung disease, and they find that the salt air is really good for cystic fibrosis patients because it's good for their lungs to help with the mucus buildup that they get. And that's how it all started.
Hmm. Wow. So with the crossing, when you did the crossing last year, what was that experience like for you?
Um, well, before I did it, I had only paddleboarded. Well, before I made the choice to do it, I had only been on a paddleboard two, possibly three times. And what was the experience like? It, there really are no words to say what it was like. It was like, I mean, epic is really the only word that comes to mind. It was absolutely phenomenal. Like, I just remember being, because we started at midnight, so it's pitch black when you're starting, and you have to be out there on the water. Of course, there is a boat that we are paddling behind, so that we're being like, you've got the watchful eye of the people on the boat, and the captain and everything. I was absolutely terrified to get on that board. Like, the first time getting off the boat onto the board was just terrified, because you're in this, you can't see anything. I don't even think there were really stars in the sky that night, but I just remember being on the board. And at that time we had two boards in the water. So there were two of us in the water at the same time. And it was the coolest thing. Like, just seeing all of the bioluminescence and seeing, I mean, granted, you're focusing on the paddling, but like when you're on the boat, there's bioluminescence. We had, dolphins come and play with us. We had, one of the other boats actually had a hammerhead shark. So it's really cool. You're just dealing with all the elements, and being in their element, not your element, was really, really cool.
So
So,
like you're out in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night.
hmm
That's insane.
hmm
Like when you told me about that, I was like, wow, that sounds really amazing. No, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't, that's probably something that I would rather do as opposed to like jumping out of an airplane.
I actually have been really toying with it, doing it again or not, because, if I do it this time, it's going to be a team of four max, so I can actually like feel like I'm doing something. I mean, last time, of course, I did, but there were a lot of us, so there was a lot of rotations, and we also, we also had weather when I did it, so like we all got, because we were probably about 20 miles off the shore of Lake Worth Beach, and, they called everybody in for weather, so we had to get in the boat and bring the boards in the boat and go to shore, pretty much. So I get to experience, like really experience it, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe I stay on land. I have an itch to run a marathon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so whether it happens or not, who knows? We'll see.
that's pretty cool. So it
So,
sounds like you like trying new things. Would that be?
no, I've ran a half marathon before, so
Yeah.
running is not out of the picture. It's just hasn't been in the picture for a while.
Well, I mean, paddleboarding across the channel, four wheeling in Italy. I mean, like it.
I'm open. Like, I'm always open for an adventure. Always open for an adventure. One of the things that has come out of this also is, I'm like, okay, how do I build out a car and just go? Like, so all these things have really come from it, and what's gonna stick, I don't know. I do not know, and you know, we'll see where my life takes me. And I am, one thing that I am clear about is like, massage is just what I do right now. It doesn't define me, and it doesn't mean I have to do it forever, which is really a huge positive that came out of this,
Yeah.
because it's as much as I loved it when I was first in it, it's and I thought it was like the, oh, I found what I'm supposed to do with my life. It's not. It's not, and I'm okay with it. Whereas before I would freak out about it. Like, what am I gonna do?
How long have you
So,
been in massage?
uh only like 7 years, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. Yeah, almost 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah. They say the average life of a massage therapist is 3 to 5 years, so
Oh,
I've
wow.
lasted a little bit longer than the normal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the shelf life was that small. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I think, one of the things that I hear inside of your story is really just about rolling with it. So I know you and I haven't spoken in a couple of months since I invited you onto the podcast. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so Danielle was on a couple of episodes ago, and I think I last saw you at her place.
Mm.
And so you don't know, I don't think, that I quit my job.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's been a couple of months, and I'm working on the podcast full time. And I'm
Wow.
building up a coaching practice and doing a couple of other things. And it's like my last day at the job was June 28th. And the entire month of July, I was kind of running around in circles, like just chicken with my head cut off, no freaking clue what was going on.
Right.
Because, like, I went from being the controller for a construction company for 7 years. Accounting is,
Mm-hmm.
it's like how I was earning my money for a while, for a very long time, actually. And it's something that I kind of have always, I've had a love-hate relationship with it. Like, I really love numbers and I enjoy accounting just because for me it's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could probably be an engineer or something, but I'm lazy.
Right.
It's
Right.
really the truth. And so in the month of July, my entire experience was just, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I? I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I'm doing it wrong. And in the last couple of weeks, my coach is like, well, why do you feel like you have to make everything so hard?
Mm-hmm.
I've really starting to get the edges of that conversation.
Yeah.
And with flow come the miracles, come the messages, come
Mm-hmm.
the guidance,
Mm-hmm.
come the stuff that I didn't see before because I was too busy narrowing my view and I couldn't see what was
Yeah.
going on over here. And I always thought, oh, I can't look over there because that's squirrel.
Right.
And I don't need to go running off in that direction.
Right.
And while there's some truth to it, if you have absolutely no direction, like if there are no banks to a river, the river isn't going to go anywhere. It'll just be this giant puddle that
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
gets stagnant.
Right.
You have to have some kind of a direction,
Mm-hmm.
but when it gets to be too limited, then it gets choked off.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm starting to hear
Yeah.
that it's about that kind of trusting that the universe has your back,
Mm-hmm.
but also still being in action and in some kind of a doing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you one of the biggest arguments that people have against like the law of attraction and the Abraham Hicks is, oh, I'm just going to sit in the car and I'm going to pretend to drive the Ferrari and one day it's just going to show up in my
Oh
driveway.
yeah, you can't own on top of a mountaintop and just expect it to show up.
No, no, you absolutely have to go out there and take
Mm.
action. What's the balance? What would you say the balance is between being and doing?
I really think I it's finding the balance and trusting. Trusting and believing that I can do, and there might not be anything, but I'm doing, but I'm not believing what I'm doing is working. So there's got to be some kind of trust, confidence, this in with the being and doing, because I think, I know they say it's not 50-50. And do I think it's 50-50? That's really a good question. I really think it's believing. Half the battle is believing you can do it. And in believing you can do it, the doing seems easier.
What comes to mind for me is when I believe, when I trust,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm able to see the opportunities for doing more clearly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking less wrong buses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
getting more on the right
Yeah.
buses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the synchronicities
Mm-hmm.
happen a little bit faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I do believe that 100%.
And I don't think anything is ever like 50-50. Because, one of the things that they talk about in a lot of the personal development circles is, oh, relationships are not 50-50. It's 100-100,
Right.
which
Okay.
on a level is
Yeah.
true. There's also some reality to there's a contribution from the environment. But one
Mm-hmm.
of the things in Nichiren Buddhism that we talk about is the environment is a reflection of the self.
Mm-hmm.
And so, while it is true that you might be with a partner who abuses you, who berates you, who
Mm-hmm.
does whatever they do to you, it could be a boss, it could be a husband, a wife, it
Mm-hmm.
could be a parent, a child, whatever it is, they're only able to do that to you
Because you do it to yourself.
because you're allowing it.
Mm-hmm. And you do it to yourself.
Yeah,
With the speak, you speak to yourself.
subconsciously,
What are you
psychologically.
saying to yourself up here that nobody else gets to hear?
Yes, very
And the
true.
tone you're talking to yourself in is the tone that others around you will talk to yourself
Isn't that fascinating?
in.
Because those same people don't necessarily talk to others that same way.
Correct. Correct.
And so it really is true that it is 100% me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I put my foot down and drew a boundary, at first it would be uncomfortable as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But after a little while, either that person is going to shape up or ship out because they're not going to want to stick around when it gets hard.
Correct.
There are stories of women who like are walking across a parking lot and somebody comes up behind them and they start screaming or slapping or whatever. They make it too hard for the person who's trying to attack them to continue.
Mm-hmm.
My guy walks off
Right.
and then he just hits on somebody who's not going to fight.
Right.
So, I'm not saying that, definitely not saying that you are responsible as in to be blamed for. But really, how much do you value yourself? How willing are you to fight for who you are and what you have?
Yeah. And I think that's another big significance of the accident because for a little bit of time before it, I was praying and wishing that something would happen to take me.
Oh, wow.
Right. So like realizing that, okay, that's not what I want. That's not really what I want. So I think that's like also one of the key factors that has helped me help me reassess, if you want to call it that. So
You got your prayer.
yeah, right, right,
That's powerful.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, yeah.
I don't remember where it was. I saw something fairly recently that was saying that most people who survive an attempt that they take on their own life,
Mm-hmm.
the minute they like jump off the bridge or take the pill or whatever, they realize that that's not really what they want.
Right.
So, how many people realize that after they've already crossed the line that it's too late?
Mm-hmm.
How many people do get what they think they want, and then once they've gone there, kind of like, wait, this isn't quite what I thought.
Right.
So that tells me that, first of all, I believe that it's normal for that thought to cross your mind, for anybody to have that thought at one time or another, because there are days if you don't have a really shitty day at least a couple of times in your life, then you're not human. You're not
Right.
really living.
Right.
And if you do have those really shitty days, then every now and then, if it happens for days on end, sometimes it's just like, God, it would be easier if I just weren't here.
Yeah.
So I think that that's absolutely a normal thought for anyone who might be thinking that. But I also believe that if you get off the bus before it's your stop, you're just going to have to ride another bus to get to the point that you need to go.
Uh-huh.
I believe, as a Buddhist, I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that you're going to keep coming back until you
You
have
figure it out.
solved the puzzle of your own karmic life.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking that you're going to check out of the hotel early,
You're just gonna come back and it's gonna be for something else.
oh, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
really powerful. And so now you've got that second chance.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot more meaningful, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's really holding myself to a different level, if you
Mm.
will. Whereas, like, in the aspect of being my word, I will always be my word outwardly, 100%. If I say something, if I'm usually, even if I'm 5 minutes late, hey, I'm running 5 minutes late. But usually, um, we have those times where we don't. But like to myself, I was always, it didn't happen. Okay, it didn't. So now it's more of like this is what matters. Like this is the vessel that happens in this lifetime. So like
Mm.
let's figure out this vessel and make it tick at its best way,
Wow.
in its best doing.
That's It's funny. A lot of people say that when they have that moment, that health and well-being is one of the first things that they go to work on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know necessarily health and well being, but like definitely just the alignment and having everything, clean and clear and the best as it can be. Because I realize that the more clear and concise and the more we can be, then the more in alignment that we are, then the more clear everything comes through and the easier things happen. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Absolutely. No, I listened to so many podcasts and watched so many videos. It's like, oh yeah, I heard this person. And really, the truth of the matter is, like, you are what you eat. You are what you feed yourself. You are.
Yeah.
So, pay attention. If
Yeah.
you're watching political videos all the time and just screaming at people on the internet, that's a problem.
Right.
That's like eating junk food all day,
Yeah.
24/7. So I was watching a video and going through these exercises for healing. And the very last step of the friggin' exercise was, oh, yeah, and make sure that the rest of your life is in congruence with the stuff that you just did, because you're cleaning house and then going out there and messing it up again. And that doesn't work. It's like, like, come on. Can I just be a little bit lazy? Well, how long do you want to be stuck in this mess?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, really, it's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's why, I mean, so on my bio, you'll see like one of the things that I just got into was the water. And that's one of the things is our water even matters. Like what kind of water are we drinking, like, and that's kind of why I started with this because it's, if my water can help my gut life, if my water can help, you know, the wrinkles not come in as early as wrinkles come in, sure.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Why not? It's all pieces to the puzzle that we get to figure out in our own time. And I think sometimes we have a knock on the head, no pun intended there. But like something that happens that's gonna like, okay, that's the punch I needed. That's the whatever.
It's really true.
Yeah.
Really, really
And
true.
it's me sabotage myself. Like, oh yay, I'm doing good, I'm loving myself, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then like I get into like a meh, and then it all goes away. So it's like starting fresh again. How to make those meh not so, and like keep going with it,
Yeah.
which is
I as we were preparing for today's conversation, I was sharing with you, I got myself back to my naturopath, somebody I've known for 15 years, good
mhm,
friend of mine. Haven't seen her in a few years because I was embarrassed at how much weight I'd gained,
mhm,
not following her protocols, la 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 la. She doesn't care. She deals with people like me all the time.
right.
So I go, I have the session, I spend all this money on these supplements and, get the thing, and I do the program specifically to the letter for a week. And after this week, my body is like, wait a minute, something has changed. Like, I don't like this. And at the same time, I'm working with a coach on building my coaching practice. So I went after my health and my career at the same time. My emotional body was like, guts stopped, absolutely stopped. So then I ended up having to fast for 6 days, like liquid fast. Go, did a colonic, got things cleared out, adjusted. And then it was, you know what? Before I restart the other program, I'm just going to take a couple of days. Potato chips, ice cream. And like, really? Like, really?
Mhm,
Really?
mhm,
And, I'm only hurting me.
mhm.
It's what, who do I think I'm getting one over on? Because
Right.
at the end of the day, what's the point of me going back to seeing my friend? I don't want to go to her because I'm so embarrassed. It's like, no, you don't want to go to her because you want to still continue to break rules and do things the way you want and have something to bitch about.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
It's
Yeah,
really amazing how we sell ourselves short.
yeah, and those boundaries that we put for everybody else, it's putting those boundaries for ourselves as well.
It's a really powerful thing to get. Well, I am taking a look and seeing that we have been through probably about 45 minutes.
Mhm,
Um, Normally, I ask people as we're wrapping up if there's something that we might have left unsaid, if there's something that you wanted to maybe circle back to, or that you'd like to leave the viewers or listeners with as they're taking a look at their lives and the messes that they've created.
I think we've touched on a lot. Um, but really just trust and gentleness, like really like being gentle and allowing, like if there's a mess up, okay, if there's a something, okay. It's not like, and try not to make it that, oh my gosh, like breathing. I think breathing really is, take a step back, just breathe and allow and be gentle and okay, now what? Next what?
Really sage advice.
Mhm.
Leslie, thank you so much for joining me. It's been fun to reconnect after your entire experience. Thank you for sharing with
Thank
me.
you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Secret of My Success, where we explore what it means to live a fulfilling life. I am your host, Erin Curran. Again, if you haven't, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.